Hello everyone, back tuning into today's video. Going to have a look at where next week's 10 days. It's going to take us more or less to the end of June. So we've got quite a set of conditions coming up later this week. There's a bit of a Spanish plume getting very close to us from the continent. Exactly how extensive that is on Thursday and Friday is open to a lot of doubt, but of course we've got important events coming up at the end of the week. Thursday is a referendum, and then Friday is the first day of the Glastonbury Festival, so it's causing big headache for me. I've been doing the Glastonbury Festival updates for a few days now, over a week, and the charts keep chopping and changing on me, but this Spanish plume is getting very, very close, so it could import some quite hot air into the southeast just briefly on Thursday and into Friday, but it will be unstable air that could produce some violent thunderstorms. Obviously, it's a case of watch this space on that. Once that gets out of the way over weekend, we revert to a westerly flow, and then that takes us into next week, and we'll see where things are likely to go as we get into next week for today's video. Before I get on with that, just say about the ads. There's links articles on all the pages. If you have a browse, which is a click through the link, you'll be helped to pay for the website. Thanks so much for doing that. This video ads most pages say own that content, but you watch me close back up again, and it does help to pay for our website. Later on today, there'll be another Glastonbury update. I don't normally do these updates as frequently as this, but this year it's just that it's changing from day to day, so I have to keep on top of it. So there will be another Glastonbury update tonight, see if we can try and make sense of what things are doing, what weather's going to be doing from Wednesday through to Sunday. Just have a look at central temperature first of all before we do anything else. So this is provisional for June up to the 19th. We stand at 15.6, which is an anomaly of 1.5 degrees above average. So it has been a warm June. It hasn't really felt that warm, I don't think, but this is probably mostly down to warm nights. Had a lot of cloud this June. I think it's going to be one of the dullest Junes for a long time, and I assume all these cloudy skies have been holding the temperatures up by night particularly. So one of the main reasons we're coming out with a warm month so far, so we've had a lot of warm cloudy nights, but the days haven't really felt all that hot, or at least they haven't where I am. Not sure what everybody else thinks to that idea, but anyway, the central temperatures coming out significantly above average for this month. I don't see that changing greatly really over the remaining 10 days. Have a look at the 500 millibar height anomaly flow charts then. These are for the next week to 10 days. This takes us more or less to the end of the month. We've got the ECMWF here on the top and the GFS is on the bottom. 500 millibars, 80,000 feet is an area in the atmosphere, high pressure, low pressure, being moved around by a jet stream running above. So blue is extrapolating to low pressure and red to high pressure. So it's showing a classic westerly setup here for the ECMWF as we get through to the end of June. We've got low pressure around Iceland, we've got high pressure around the Azores, and we're bringing in westerly flow with the jet stream more or less coming through the north of the country, so it does imply more unsettled conditions to the north and west, and perhaps the driest conditions next week is likely to be down in the south and the east. The air appears to be originating from Greenland, that sort of northern part of the Atlantic, so it's not going to be especially warm, but in the south, under the ridge, it should be relatively pleasant. Now, the GFS is similar, but there is quite a big difference, and the ridge is further away from us. It's more in the central part of the Atlantic. The trough is also deeper and closer to us, so it is a westerly flow through to the end of June. But the difference is that it's more unsettled. That low pressure is deeper, it's more influential, and we'll be bringing bands of rain through the country if that one was to come off. Have a look at the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next 2 weeks. The red line here is the 30-year temperature average. So we're going to be going above average through towards the end of the week. Could get really quite hot down in the southeast. I wouldn't rule out chance temperatures possibly popping up to around maybe 30 degrees somewhere like London. It's not out of the question on Thursday afternoon. That's 86 Fahrenheit. But there's a big but with that, there could be some really big thunderstorms breaking out. And it's also possible, it is still possible, that this heat and thunder risk, the Spanish plume, could actually slide away to the east of us and never really impact us at all. So, as I say, it's just a case of watch this space on that. Once Friday is out of the way, we'll find temperatures dipping down back to average. It looks like we stay very close to average, very close to this red line, which is the 30-year temperature average, pretty much through towards the start of July. Dates along the bottom of the chart, of course, is the first week of July. Just here. In terms of precipitation, it looks like we've got more rain to come, really, and this is an ideal, of course, where we've got the Glastonbury Festival going on. You want it to be dry, really. It looks like there is more showers, at the very least, on the way, and this area of spikes, or this part of the graph just there, we've got these spikes. Those could be thunderstorms, of course, associated with that push-up in the temperatures. So the temperature anomaly for the coming week is from the 20th through to 28th of June, coming out around average, maybe even hinting a little bit below in the north and west, but a little bit above in the southeast. But no great deviation, generally close to average temperatures for the coming week. Precipitation, bit topsy-turvy. It has been for some time now. England and Wales generally looking wetter than average. Northern Ireland and parts of Northern England generally a bit drier than average. Then we go back to wetter than average for the north of Scotland. So averaging it all out through the whole country, probably not a great deviation really. But down in the southeast, there could be some big rainfall events, of course, if those thunderstorms do get going on Thursday afternoon and Thursday evening. So this is how the GFS is looking for Thursday. This is Thursday, 23rd of June. So this is when the referendum is taking place. Now, we've got all this heat pushing up out of France. So we've got a Spanish plume coming up out of France. Most of it's generally going to the east of us, but it is close enough in this sort of zone here, there's some sort of system, to be producing the risk of thunderstorms, and in the very far southeast, possibly some high temperatures as well. We move through to Friday, and that heat has gone. It's pushed off to the east, and we're reverting back into a west-northwesterly flow under this trough of low pressure just here. And then go through into the weekend with a showery trough within the 500 millibar flow across the country. So I think we're looking at showers, particularly on Saturday. Sunday may actually turn drier as this ridge builds in from off the Atlantic. And then to go through to next week, and we go to that westerly flow. So a classic example of the 500 millibar height anomalies. Really, we've got low pressure up here around Greenland and Iceland. We've got the ridge in the Atlantic, and there's the westerlies coming through. That's going to be relatively pleasant for England and Wales. Will be a little bit more showery for Scotland and Northern Ireland. And keep a ridge into Tuesday, and then the middle part of next week shows a gradual breakdown again of that ridge as low pressure comes back in from the northwest. We saw it on the 500 millibar height anomaly flow chart from the GFS, but as we get through to middle stages of next week, this is day 10, Thursday, 30th of June, when low pressure is moving back in from the Atlantic, and we end up on the first day of July in really quite a low pressure dominated unsettled type scenario. The ECMWF, very similar, so this is midnight on Friday, and again we've got the plume of hot air just to the east of us, but probably close enough to produce instability in this sort of zone just here. There could be big thunderstorms taking place on Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, into the early hours of Friday. We go through to Saturday, and yes, we've got low pressure then close to the country. We're bringing cooler air from the northwest, but heat is being pushed off into Central Europe. And then we move through in towards Sunday, building a ridge through the country, so that's better, particularly for Glastonbury. It will be drying out from the showers at that point. And that takes us into the start of next week. Westerlies becoming established, run through the week. And we get through to the end of next week, so this is day 10, 30th of June. And again, we find that low pressure is starting to come back in from the northwest. That's probably quite cool air coming down from Greenland. The ridge there is in the central Atlantic and pulling back that way. So a few days of drier and probably quite warm weather for the south anyway, early next week. And then after that, looks like we get a bit of a deterioration with the flow going back to the northwest, probably bringing some bands of rain from the northwest. So a lot going on over the coming week to 10 days. We've got the chance of a Spanish plume and some heat and thunder on Thursday. And then it turns cooler and showery after that. Then probably drier from the start of next week. And then the end of next week, very end of June into start of July. Probably looking at a return of Atlantic rain bands. I'll be doing another Glastonbury update this evening, putting some detail on the Glastonbury period, of course, so come back for that. But that's all for now, and thanks very much for watching.